of these things are coming sooner than we think. But on the other hand, so there's a whole thing about people worried about there's not going to be employment anymore and the rise of the robots. And I'm not a believer in that thesis, really. I think that
You're not. I am.
I don't know. I think.
Explain why a robot is not going to replace every manual labor job.
Oh, all crappy jobs are going to be replaced for sure.
Great.
I
So
just
then
think
we're
human
in
beings
sync.
are infinitely good at coming up with new jobs to do. So I think if we're willing to spend the money as a society and really invest in entrepreneurship and education, which is a big if, right? So we have not proven we are able to do that. But if we're willing to make that investment to say, if someone's displaced from their job because of changes in globalization or technology, we shouldn't just let them languish as the unemployed, but we should be investing in them, helping them, make the transition to a new industry. We should help them become an entrepreneur.
Like that. Yeah.
But listen, you think, okay, we're all clapping here, but I was on C-SPAN once. I'll tell you this one story. I was on C-SPAN, I was making the case, I call this a pro-entrepreneurship public policy, not left, not right, but what do you need to do to invest in the next generation of entrepreneurs? And I was just like, I'm on C-SPAN in the daytime. I was like there at like 10 o'clock on a Tuesday, okay? So this is like, who's watching a live call-in show on C-SPAN at that hour? You can imagine
Insomniacs.
the calls I'm getting, yeah. It was like some pretty funny calls. Anyway, I was like, listen, I'm just rattling off this idea, that idea in my usual way. We currently give unemployment insurance payments to someone who becomes involuntarily laid off, right? I was like, in some countries, they have a program where if you want, you can choose to convert your unemployment insurance payments into a small business loan and use that to start a business. So you go from being, unemployed person to job creator, and the government funds that, and then they got
That's a nice swing.
It's like, I
brilliant.
cannot come up with a policy that seems more obvious to me, is like so clearly a good idea.
So you say, here's what your year of unemployment would be.
Here's your small business loan.
We'll give you a loan, give you a year in advance,
Exactly
but you're
right.
not getting any more unemployment.
Yeah, it's like you were just same money we would have paid you anyway, but now we'll do it through a small business program. And in certain countries, it comes with like training about entrepreneurship, and you learn how to do it, and they help you get some incubator space. Whatever. It's like a whole program for helping people go from unemployed to entrepreneurs.
Brilliant.
Right, greatest idea ever. So easy. First caller. What happens if they don't pay back their loans? The government giving them free loans, they don't get paid back. I was like, well, we were giving them the unemployment anyway. So let's say that 1% of the people pay it back, then the government's ahead. I was not going to win this argument. You can see what was going on. I was just like, but then the other people, are undeserving.
What about the people who are going to work every day?
Right, exactly. Like, why didn't I get it? Like, they got this free loan, and I didn't. I go to work every day. I was just like,
they're taking our jobs.
That is really what it was. And every one of these policies, you talk about like, the simple ones and the hard ones. Like, so in California, we have strong prohibitions on anti-compete clauses in contracts, okay? Now, that's considered a left policy, right? It's like pro-worker to say like, the company cannot block you up with these things, so it's a pro-worker policy. Where some policies that are important.
You can't do a non-compete.
You can't do a non-compete.
They're not valid here, but in the East Coast, if you give somebody a non-compete and say, you can't work for a software company.
Yeah, they're valid there. So if you have a Boston-based company, then they're valid. If you have a New York, you can't. So like, every company thinks they need non-competes. Even California companies, they write them into their contracts anyway, even though they're unenforceable. It'd be like, we need the control. It's a human tick. We can't let go. It's a matter of public policy. We have to say you can't do this. It's part of why Silicon Valley is Silicon Valley, and Route 128 in Boston didn't become the next Silicon Valley, because we have a series of policies that make that possible. So, that, like, is that a right? So we have to have that prohibition if you want to have a pro-entrepreneurship public policy. Is that a right thing or a left thing? Like, it's kind of confusing, because like on the one hand you think, well, having a giveaway to business, that's a right thing, but then like tax policy, it's just like we get confused because we're used to thinking about business or workers. Pro-entrepreneurship public policy is interesting because you have to ask yourself, when someone becomes an entrepreneur, statistically speaking, what were they doing 5 minutes before they became an entrepreneur? Now, maybe they were Elon Musk and he's doing his second startup, but statistically speaking, right? So statistically speaking, it's not very likely that the person who becomes an entrepreneur was an entrepreneur before. So what were they? They were a student, they were an immigrant, they were a worker. What else? Or they were unemployed. They probably weren't a titan of industry. They probably weren't a Fortune 500 CEO, statistically speaking, right? So we have to we create policies that help those people become future titans of industry.
Hey, everybody, let me tell you about one of my favorite services in the world. It's called Audible.com, and you know it. It is awesome because I like to get smart. If you find somebody who is smart in the world and successful, and you ask them, what books have you read recently? They're going to tell you. And I can tell you 100% of the time that I've met smart people in my life, successful people, they read books. Why? Because books are just this great repository of knowledge. And, there's so many books published right now. But I have little secrets to find the best books. And one of them is Audible, because the reviews on Audible, I have to tell you, I go to the Audible website, I look at the reviews, I look at the number of stars. It is scary how accurate it is. I told you about some of the other books I'm listening to, like Building Great Sentences, The Hobbit, and The Man Who Knew Infinity. Really great books. But today I want to tell you about Smarter, Faster, and Better, which is by Charles Duhigg. You may remember him, because he did that book, The Power of Habit. He built off that success, and now he's doing a book called Smarter, Faster, Better, which I'm halfway through, and it is amazing. It is really about being productive. And he talks to CEOs and generals and FBI agents and pilots and Broadway songwriters. He really just gets into detail about how to be productive in your life. The book, so far, I'm halfway through it, so I'm not going to give any spoilers. It is just fantastic, and I'm like, literally, they have a great feature inside of Audible, which is you can do a bookmark. You can literally say, I want to bookmark this place. And then what I do is when I get back to my desk, I take out my phone and I look at my bookmarks and I think about it. And sometimes I write blog posts based on that. Sometimes I talk to my team. Sometimes I'll talk to a startup about it. I just find all this great stuff. The other thing I've been listening to is Neil Postman's Amusing Ourselves to Death, which is absolutely fantastic. That's another great read. And it's a quick one, too. I have the Platinum account on Audible, but you can go to audible.com/twist, audible.com/twist, and get a 30-day trial membership. And you will get my book of the week for free, which is, of course, Smarter, Faster, and Better, The Secrets of Being Productive in Life and Business. And we all want to be more productive. And I tell you what, I'm always going on my hikes now. You see me on my Instagram, my Facebook. I'm going out hiking. I go out hiking with my daughter. And I just go for a nice long hike, do it for about 2 hours. I listen to 2 hours of an audiobook. I'm driving back and forth in the valley. Instead of wasting that time listening to music, I am digging down and doubling down on audiobooks. I just love Audible. And they've been a great partner of ours. So audible.com/twist, audible.com/twist. Get your 30-day free trial membership and do what I do, which is go to the top of the rankings, look at all the nonfiction books, look at the fiction books, and just don't even think about it. Just order 10 books at a time. That's what I do. I literally will just pick 3, 4, 5, 10 books, fill up my library, and then it's synced on my iPad, synced on my phone. I just love it. Audible is everywhere. You can listen to it in the car, on your phone, iPad, etc. You know the deal. And go ahead and check out my pick of the week, The Power of Habit. Yes, from the author of Power of Habit, Smarter, Faster, Better, Charles Duhigg. And The Power of Habit is also very good too. But I think Charles Duhigg is getting better. And Emmy Award-winning producer Jackie, let's get Charles Duhigg on the program. Okay, let's get back to this amazing episode.